This game is Sea of Thieves for Introverts. Hi friends, and welcome to Salt 2, Shores of Gold. This pirate-themed survival crafting game is currently in early access on Steam, and if you fancy yourself a solo pirate journey, then this may be the game for you. Between the exploration, combat, and quest lines, this game is a long-haul survival journey that pulls you in and keeps you pirating on the high seas. The best part? It's meant to be entirely single-player, so if you don't enjoy the PvP parts of Sea of Thieves but still want a similar adventure, then Salt 2 may be perfect for you. The devs kindly sent me a copy way back in September, and as soon as I started playing, it sucked me in, so now I get to share it with all of you. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about other survival games, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It would be much appreciated. But without further ado, let's talk about Sea of Thieves for Introverts, Salt 2, Shores of Gold. Salt doesn't exactly have a traditional storyline, but it does have continuous quest lines to keep the game engaging. There are a number of factions that you can join that have their own dedicated storylines to follow. There are some more peaceful and exploration-based guilds like the Divers Guild that encourages the exploration of the underwater caves, or if it's more your speed, there are some combat-focused groups like the Red Raiders Pirate Guild or the Marauders Guild. A lot of these groups' respective quests fall into your typical RPG quest type. Go here, fetch that, find this, kill that, etc. Each guild has an advancement system where you can climb the ranks to unlock new perks and benefits the more you do with that guild, making it worth your while to pursue a faction's whole questline. Plus, you're likely to pick up some pretty valuable stuff on the way. If it's money that you're purely after though, then perhaps something like the High Seas Trading Company would be more your speed. Completed quests grant a range of rewards from openable treasure chests to coins in your coffers. You can supplement that income by picking up some commissions from various posting boards found either in the guild halls or inside a seaport town. These quests are usually simple and easy to complete, craft that, or get this kinds of quests, and these don't need to be returned to a specific person. You can either turn them in at a mailbox you'll find next to most of these friendly structures, or you can make a mailbox on your shift for that instant quest returns, which I would highly recommend. These commissions provide a steady source of income and also always give you something more to do or to look out for while you're exploring. There is one more major quest type that tends to be given by NPCs and seaports, and that's your traditional side quest. These questlines are often pretty simple and relatively fast, but they're a nice in-between level of difficulty if you want a break from the guild quests and you're getting bored of commissions. This is also where a decent amount of that pirate charm comes in and lets you play the world the way that you want to play it. So while there may not be one single main storyline that explains your pirating life and how you got there or where you're going, it's not an aimless wandering kind of survival. There are objectives to complete if you want to, but you can also roam free if that's what you desire, which you'll most certainly need a boat for. In order to be a good pirate, of course you'll need a ship to captain. There are a few models of ship in the game with different material costs, layouts, and speeds, which becomes increasingly more important the more you progress through the game. Your ship functions as your home base, your floating citadel to take with you wherever you travel. And because you'll be spending a lot of time with your precious boat, you should definitely take the time to customize it. There are a combination of functional and decorational items that you can place on your boat, including all of these 6 skill-based crafting stations like a woodworking table, a furnace, a loom, and a cooking pot. While you can rarely find these stations on an island that you're visiting, having them on your ship is by far the most consistent and easiest way to craft your desired item. But of course, aesthetics also come into play in any good decoration. From candles to ropes and skulls, there are plenty of purely aesthetic options you can use to make your boat either as homey or as seedy as you want it to be. You can also unlock plenty of crafting recipes for various clutter items, which will allow you to decorate your ship however you see fit. Combining these with a certain style of boat can definitely make you look wildly intimidating or peacefully mercantile, but all of the customization options are indeed there. The only thing that I'm missing at this point is a way to color your ship and sails beyond crafting a whole new ship, which can often be really expensive, but perhaps that's something we'll see in future updates. It's also nice that little things like getting your boat stuck on some rocks or too far up the shore are no issue, because you can either push it away with a simple button or fully redeploy it with all of your decorations intact. If you choose, you can also rotate between ships that you've assembled, so if you want a smaller, more maneuverable ship for nearby island hopping, you could use that instead of a multi-mast large vessel. Or if you wander around to the other side of a large island and feel too lazy to walk all the way back to your boat, you could always redeploy your ship on the nearest shore to you and head off towards whatever vista you see in the distance. The world you explore is procedurally generated, meaning that you can infinitely find various island types as you go. Right now, these islands come in a few distinct forms with different assets, structures, and enemies. There's your standard tropical island that houses some wildlife, some dungeons, plenty of herbal resources, and maybe a friendly cabin or two. If you're lucky, you might even stumble across an entire seaport, which is a friendly town filled with merchants and guild members where you can pick up commissions and offload all of your hoarded treasure for a tidy profit. These tropical islands can also come in a larger size that are usually decorated with ancient ruins, but note that the larger variants have some skeletons roaming around that will attack you. There are pirate islands with orange leaves where you'll find various kinds of pirate camps and the occasional lone merchant who will sometimes give you unique quests. And the next tiers of islands are these evergreen ones, which are inhabited by the same skeletons, but also bears and the occasional cultist. Desert islands are surprisingly tame, with plenty of ores to mine and peaceful golden boars. These also have your classic X marks the spot, buried treasure for that true pirate fix. But marshlands are by far the most dangerous in my opinion. These islands are shrouded in a thick mist that makes landing arrows difficult, plus it's covered in spiders, which is a pure nightmare for arachnophobes like me. If you do choose to seek these out though, they are the only place to reliably find certain rare resources that will greatly help you in your journey. Similarly, the Battlemaster Islands are chock full of high-level pirates who will fight you on sight, but they also have some beautiful red foliage and some cute red foxes to go along with them. And for a game all about the ocean, there are of course a number of marine-focused islands to explore as well. The Sunken Islands house underwater dungeons full of loot and puzzles to solve, and searching for hidden passageways or in small caverns can lead to massive rewards. You can also find some friendly merchant ships that will give you quests and sell you rare items. All of these islands are homes to various dungeons, caves, and structures to explore. The dungeons are meant to mimic those found in the Elder Scrolls series, where paths are relatively linear and enemies and loot are abundant. You also don't have to circle all the way back to the front door when you want to leave. These dungeons and caves are plentiful, with usually several options on a given island, and each of them offers a unique experience. One might be an animal den, one might be full of smugglers looking to defend their cache. Between the various factions, the commissions from the job boards, and your own intrepid curiosity, there are plenty of things to keep you occupied when you go exploring. You might find a unique boss that drops cool loot, or a mine filled with ores to harvest, but you'll need to level up a few skills to make the most out of any dungeon. In the current build of the game, there are 4 major skills you can perfect and 7 secondary skills to grind for. The secondary skills are your typical crafting or survival skills, in which the higher you level, the more advanced gear or materials you can create. For example, level 10 mining allows you to mine iron, level 20 allows silver, level 30 allows gold, etc. This more or less carries over to the other skills, but with their own respective crafting stations. Some, like cooking, are a bit more practical as higher level foods grant more buffs and hunger points, as opposed to tailoring, which just lets you craft a more advanced kind of linen. The 4 primary skills are all combat related, and that's where your character customization comes in. Whether you prefer a slashing weapon type, a bludgeoning mace, or piercing dagger, all of those attack types have a tiered skill tree that you can advance to make it more powerful. In a lot of ways, this skill system is very reminiscent of the skill trees you'd find in Skyrim, where the perks unlock progressively and are more powerful the more points you invest. If you decide that a certain build is no longer for you, you also have the option to reset your tree using a potion of renewal, which can be purchased at almost any seaport. Be warned that it does take a fair amount of grinding to advance any skill insult, which is one of my few major criticisms for the game. Despite having sunk over 20 hours into the game so far, my highest primary skill is just over 26 levels, which means that if I want to fill out the skill tree and maximize my potential with a slashing weapon, I'd be investing a hefty chunk of my time into just one weapon type. My highest secondary skill is also just above 30 levels in that same period, so the grind is definitely something to consider if you want to unlock all of those rarer and more valuable things we talked about earlier. These skills are also tied to a larger world tier, which basically means that every 10 player levels you advance, you unlock a new tier. The higher the tier, the more advanced islands will spawn and the more resources you'll get, and also it means that the more difficult enemies will spawn. The regenerating resources like ores and herbs will also advance on islands you've already explored, but chests will still be opened, boxes looted, and that kind of thing. Again, my major complaint is just how long it takes to advance those skills to get to the next tier, but at least they all come in handy when it comes time to start beating down some enemies. Items come in a tiered rarity system in which gray is common items, green is uncommon items, blue is rare, and purple is epic. Generally speaking, these items follow a similar trend to what you'd expect, in which gray items are the least valuable and powerful, and purple items are the most rare and powerful. While selling rare items can certainly net you a good amount of coin, when it comes to your equipment, the rarer items are generally more worth your while. The higher the rarity of a given item, the more perks it will have, and the higher tiers will generally have better perks like lifesteal, extra damage, or poison. It's pretty common to see weapons or armor that will grant bonus points to a certain stat too, like dexterity or agility. By looting various dungeons and progressing through the world, you can continually unlock and find new weapons and equipment, which allows you to build and customize your own perfect pirate. Combat itself is also relatively simplistic right now, which, for someone who isn't into the PvP realm offered by Sea of Thieves, I think that this works quite well, but it certainly isn't as nuanced as other fantasy or survival comparisons might be. There is technically the option to parry an enemy's attack, which I've never done successfully and don't find appealing, but there are ways to avoid taking damage in direct combat. Or you could choose to be a long-distance hero and focus on archery, which has worked pretty well for me so far. Unlike the Elder Scrolls though, you cannot open your inventory to consume 42 cheese wheels during combat in order to survive. Not only does the game not pause when you open a menu, healing items, specifically the healing potions that will keep you alive, have a cooldown on how often you can consume them. That makes combat a bit more interesting for the spray and pray or hold W style of players, although death doesn't have as much consequence in the current build of the game. You'll just be teleported back to the entrance of whatever dungeon you perished in, and you'll get to do it all again to your heart's content. Then you can go on your merry way and set sail for brighter shores. While Salt 2 is indeed in early access, it's being developed by a 2-person team, which is pretty incredible with what they've accomplished. That means that these features are far from final, and there may be plenty more content planned for the future, but we're likely in for a long-haul development process. That being said, I do highly recommend this game to anyone looking for a new ocean survival game to sink a few hours into. There's even more to explore than what I've briefly explained here. In its current state, you could easily play for hundreds of hours and still be looking for more. Anyways, I think that's it for me for now. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like if you did, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps me out. I hope to see you all again soon, but until then, have a great day.